Hello, everyone. My name is Carlton Herbert, and this is a project I put together for M2.4. The community center development, I was going for a couple of main themes, ideas. Tried to group the programs in a couple stories to give it some depth and height, and as well as kind of spacing them apart so there'd be sight lines through the complex, kind of between the building groups. And then also some large pathways kind of running in between the buildings with kind of a central plaza that'd be open to the sky. I also tried to kind of mimic the drop of the canal with the height of the canopy drop there, and also kind of trying to make it look sort of like ripples or kind of wakes in the canal itself. I tried to use rectangular forms for most of the design, generally just keep construction costs lower and the design a little bit simpler, and also to try and reuse pathways on the site that were existing and kind of the flat areas that were existing to try and minimize the damage to the existing greenery and also disruption to the site. I also oriented it about 30 degrees from north in order to try and maximize the shading that we could get on the buildings that would be underneath the canopy as well. Here's a regional site diagram, site collage for Arizona Falls. You can see a map there of the site and a couple images from Google Earth. And like I was saying before, I was trying to allow for some good sight lines between the road and the canal to not block too much of that, and then try and basically reuse as much of the flat area where the existing sports areas are and the pathways and sidewalks along the canal and then to the parking as well. Here's some of the initial program groups put together. I grouped the cafe and kitchen, bathroom, and the club space all together. Figured that made most sense. Mostly the cafe and the bathrooms, and then having the kind of club space above as a kind of a raised kind of interesting area to look out at the canal. I grouped the storage and the housekeeper apartment together. I figured that would probably be the person accessing the storage or in charge of the storage. I tried to keep the small meeting areas separate, just because I figured there'd be a lot of people going in and out of the various rooms that'd be there. And then the group apartment with the medium spaces, and then kept that large multi-use space just kind of separate. Here's a physical model put together to show how I was envisioning that would look. And then here's some of the initial single line plans for that first floor and second floor and elevations. Here's the isometric buildup, starting from just those columns and kind of the initial circulation, and then how the programs would fit in there with the canopy as well. For the canopy construction, I tried to design it so there would be a kind of single repeating unit. That would make the actual buildability of it a lot simpler and allow for a lot more off-site production with fairly simple install. And then, like I was saying, to kind of create sort of like a wave pattern or kind of ripple pattern there. Here's everything assembled there, isometric. And then here's that first floor plan. So you can see how I kind of divvied up the small multi-use areas in the bottom left there. I envisioned they'd be something kind of like classrooms, just kind of small rooms there. The bathrooms adjoining with the cafe. The kind of multi-use, medium multi-use, I figured a similar kind of classroom setup, and storage with shelving or cabinets or something like that, and then a large multi-use space. I kind of imagine that'd be maybe a couple of basketball courts that could be used for any kind of large sporting event or just kind of general gym space. Here's the second floor of that. You can see the cafe. Take stairs or an elevator up to have an upper balcony area or the upper club space. And there's the group apartment with four bedrooms in it, and then the housekeeper apartment across the way there at the bottom for just a single resident there. And then for the multi-use space, I added essentially a catwalk kind of walkway that would just kind of go around the perimeter so that people could view what was going on down below from that second floor there. Here's a couple of section elevations showing just some cuts through that main space and a top view of that site. Some shadows there in the trees, just to get an idea of how it's sitting there on the site, and then this final kind of 3D view overall of what it turned out to be. So thanks for taking a look.